The bad guys got us thinking. If we wanted to pull off the ultimate heist, which Cartoon Network villains would we recruit? These aren't your average criminals. These are masterminds, monsters, and manipulators who've been terrorizing heroes for decades. Let's get our crew together and go to work. We'll see how it all goes down at the end. Before we start recruiting, we need some rules. We're only picking villains from original Cartoon Network programming. No acquired shows from Hanna-Barbera, no Canadian imports, and absolutely no DC characters. Because if we could pick someone like Slade or Brother Blood, this wouldn't even be a challenge. Every successful heist needs specific roles filled, and we're going to pick the absolute best villain for each position. Let's begin. Perhaps the most important role in a heist scenario. If you want to pull off a large-scale heist, you'll need someone who can give strategic orders, predict possible outcomes both good and bad, and keep a cool head through it all. There are a lot of candidates for this role, but we came up with 3 in particular that stand out. Father from Codename, Kids Next Door, him from the Powerpuff Girls, and Aku from Samurai Jack.
Yes, and soon I'll destroy all the ice cream on Earth, so that when my delightful children enjoy this cake, they'll be eating the last ice cream in the universe! Unless you give me that recipe!
In terms of elaborate planning, Father seems like the most impressive choice. His strengths are his commanding presence and natural authority. He runs the delightful children like a military operation, and even other villains respect his position. He's patient when he needs to be, ruthless when necessary, and has access to incredible resources.
There's nowhere to run, Tommy. Get up! That's it! That little meatball has caused me enough grief. This ends now!
But that said, his temper might get him in trouble. When things don't go according to plan, Father tends to explode. Literally. Those flames aren't just for show. We could see him planning an excellent heist, but losing control when one small thing goes wrong, causing the whole operation to fall apart. From a temperamental villain to an absolutely terrifying one. HIM is both seriously impressive and deeply unsettling. First and foremost, unlike Father, he's got the patience of a demon who's existed for millennia. On top of that, he's a master manipulator who works through mind games rather than brute force. He doesn't just defeat his enemies, he breaks them mentally first.
Yes! Yes! Well, I love it when you girls fight! I think you should fight more often!
His ability to pull strings from behind the scenes makes him a serious asset to any team. But while both Father and him have their strengths, we're hiring Aku as the brains of this operation. The thing about Father is that while he is a brilliant strategist and has incredible intimidation skills, he's a little bit too temperamental. I mean, he literally destroyed his own base once just because he was angry, and if any of his teammates failed at their tasks, he'd probably incinerate them on the spot. HIM is willing to eliminate threats to his operation too, but his methods are so psychological that they might not translate well to a straightforward heist. He'd rather torment someone for weeks than just get the job done. Aku, on the other hand, has led armies for thousands of years. He's conquered the entire planet and ruled it successfully. He has the intimidation and leadership skills to stage a nearly perfect heist and isn't likely to let any oversights get in his way.
I will unleash such evil that even the most innocent soul will be consumed by terror.
Sure, he's lazy and prefers delegating, but for a heist, that's actually perfect. He'll coordinate while others do the heavy lifting. With Aku chosen as our leader, it's time for us to start fleshing out the rest of his crew. Starting with the gunmen, or in this case, gunmen, because we're picking 2. Now, there are a lot of contenders here. Cartoon Network has no shortage of villains who know their way around weapons. Mojo Jojo from the Powerpuff Girls and General Skarr from the Grim Adventures of Billy and Mandy come to mind immediately. They're both skilled with various weapons and don't let anything get in between them and their objectives.
Prepare to meet your doom, VeggieFest patrons! Last year, my giant steamy beanie broccolini took 2nd place at your pathetic VeggieFest. And I may have cried myself to sleep that night.
Mojo Jojo has built everything from laser cannons to giant robots. He's definitely got the firepower. Therein lies the problem for Mojo. While he's skilled with weapons, he's just too chatty to act as proper security for the operation. He's basically a genius in a monkey's body who can't stop explaining every single detail of what he's doing. General Skarr, on the other hand, is a solid candidate for the job.
Time for the big guns! Or should I say, missiles!
He's got military training and a garage full of weapons that definitely aren't legal. He's greedy and immoral enough to shoot whoever he needs to in order to complete the mission. He has the skills to handle any weapon you give him, and being a literal military man makes him a pretty obvious pick. That said, his temper is concerning. He lets his anger get the better of him sometimes. Even so, he's still our first choice for gunman. His experience and arsenal are just too valuable. But we don't want just one gunman for the job. At least two would be in order to protect such a high-stakes operation. We thought of candidates like Van Kleis from Generator Rex. His nanite abilities basically turn him into a living weapon. Except his powers are more about control and corruption than straight firepower. He's better suited for other roles. That leaves us with the character who has the most outright destructive power, Vilgax from Ben 10.
The null void projector!
Now, I will send you to that wretched wasteland where you sent me.
Sorry, Billy. Looks like it's just not your day.
This guy has skill with both conventional and alien weapons, energy blasters, combat drones, his own overwhelming physical strength. Granted, he's not super trustworthy, even by villain standards. Vilgax would probably try to take over the whole operation if given the chance. But honestly, the sheer range of his abilities makes it harder to ignore just how useful he could be, despite his untrustworthiness. And Vilgax has a leg up here. Considering the fact that he's conquered multiple planets and led armies, he'd demand a huge cut of the profit. But for the amount of ruthless protection he could provide, it'd be a worthwhile investment. And just like that, we have our two gunmen, General Skarr and Vilgax. Next on the agenda is the safecracker, which could also include the explosives expert. And naturally, we have some interesting options here. Mandark from Dexter's Laboratory, Lord Shen from Kung Fu Panda. Wait, that's not Cartoon Network. Let me revise. Mandark from Dexter's Laboratory, the delightful children from Down the Lane, and Mojo Jojo again. Mandark is a genius inventor who understands security systems inside and out. He's cracked Dexter's security multiple times, which means he'd have an easier time getting into a safe than most other candidates.
Hey, Dexter, can we lend you a hand?
No, thank you. I have everything under control.
Dexter, I'd like to introduce you to our nation's first president.
And since he's obsessively detail-oriented, he's clearly experienced enough for the job. But his ego might make him take too long, explaining how clever his safe-cracking method is. The delightful children are 5 kids sharing one mind. That synchronized thinking is their superpower. One works the lock, while another monitors security, while a third handles backup systems, all at once, perfectly coordinated. But if a safe requires a bit more power to break into, then our team might prefer somebody with actual explosive experience. Mojo Jojo could crack it through sheer technical genius or just blow it open with one of his inventions. But he couldn't do it stealthily, per se. That said, there's one reason Mandark is so tailor-made for this job that it's almost unfair. His combination of technical genius, precise methodology, and experience breaking into high-security labs makes him perfect. This is basically the same thing on a larger scale, and having Aku keep him focused means Mandark won't waste time gloating. Mandark is our safecracker. With that, it's time for us to take a look at the character who would work well as the hacker. Whether they need surveillance or sabotage, someone's going to need to be ready to hack into the technology surrounding whatever place this heist takes place at. Tech experts like the delightful children from Down the Lane and Mandark are decent contenders here. Wait, we already picked Mandark for safecracker. Can he do both? Let me think about this. Actually, Mandark is arguably the most creative inventor on the table for either role. He practically comes up with new convoluted contraptions constantly, and that takes serious technological prowess. The only problem with Mandark pulling double duty is that he does tend to occasionally miss important details when he's overworked. Even so, having the delightful children as backup hackers would be smart. They're rich enough to afford cutting-edge hacking tools. And with 5 minds working as one, they can multitask impossibly well. From taking control of cameras to maybe even falsifying orders to security guards at the target area. I'd honestly love to give Hex the job just because his combination of magic and technology is unique. But he works alone usually and wouldn't cooperate well with a team. On the other hand, I don't know about you guys, but if I see 5 creepy kids synchronized perfectly on my security system, as far as I'm concerned, that system belongs to them now. With their excellent, ridiculously fast-paced hacking skills, the delightful children are the most obvious pick for the job by far. Plus, having them means Mandark can focus entirely on cracking that safe. Following the hacker, let's quickly talk about the Master of Disguise. Now, there are a lot of impressive candidates for this category, but we narrowed it down to 3 in particular. Aku, who's already leading, so scratch that. Sedusa from the Powerpuff Girls, and Randall from Monsters, Inc. Wait, that's Pixar, not Cartoon Network. Let me revise. Sedusa from the Powerpuff Girls, Double D from Ed, and Eddie. He's not really a villain though, and actually let me reconsider this category entirely. Sedusa, the calculating seductress, and the shape-shifting abilities of someone like… Actually, you know what? Aku's already leading, but his shape-shifting abilities are too perfect for this role to ignore. He can literally become any person, any object, any form he needs to. All three have their strengths and weaknesses. While Sedusa has the advantage in terms of manipulation and charm, Aku has the advantage of literally being able to change his entire molecular structure. Aku is arguably the most versatile of the bunch. That said, having your leader also serve as the infiltrator means, if he's caught, the whole operation falls apart. So actually, let's give this to Sedusa. She's successfully infiltrated high-security locations multiple times, using disguises and manipulation. And while Aku might have more literal shape-shifting skills, we can't ignore the benefit of having a master manipulator who can charm her way past human guards. We're giving the position to Sedusa for her craftiness, charm, and willingness to do whatever the job requires. But what happens after the heist is finished? They'll need a getaway driver to make sure they get out unscathed, relatively, at least. Steady hands and, of course, general driving skills will come in handy here. The rowdy rough boys from the Powerpuff Girls would be a perfect choice since they can fly at supersonic speeds.
Welcome, fans, to the first annual Ultimate Fight!
But they're also immature brats who fight with each other constantly. We need someone more reliable. That leaves us with characters who have good performances driving in their own universes. Actually, wait, do we even need a traditional driver? No, seriously. The rowdy rough boys can fly faster than jets and carry the entire crew while doing it. Why bother with a car when you can just fly away faster than anyone can follow? Their weakness is they're immature and fight constantly. But here's the thing, Aku created similar minions throughout his series. He knows how to handle powerful but immature subordinates. That arguably places them above any character with modern-day driving skills. With no conventional vehicle needed and more direct control over their movement, these boys would probably enjoy the getaway quite a bit. We're going to give the rowdy rough boys a chance to prove themselves as the getaway crew. Along with security, you'll want to have some brute strength on board just in case things go south. Enter the muscle. Sheer size and strength are your best friends in this category, but having other skills like strategy and combat experience can help. Take Vilgax, for example. Wait, we already picked him as a gunman. Let me reconsider. Fuzzy Lumpkins from the Powerpuff Girls. Him as muscle. No, he's too powerful and recognizable. And Kevin 11 from Ben 10. Fuzzy has superhuman strength, durability, and a hair-trigger temper. He's massively powerful, can shrug off attacks that would kill normal people, and his shotgun gives him ranged options. That said, he's easily controlled. Promise him bacon and property rights and he'll follow orders without question. But neither is Kevin 11, who may be immensely powerful with his combination of alien abilities. He's got super strength, energy projection, multiple combat forms. He's basically a walking arsenal, but who mostly relies on brute force rather than strategy. I'll admit that we were kind of stumped on this category because there are just so many tough guys in Cartoon Network villain history. Then we remembered Vilgax exists. Wait, he's already on the team as a gunman. Like honestly, this guy makes us question whether we even need him in just one role. Who needs a separate muscle when you have a dude who's capable of single-handedly conquering planets and defeating entire armies in the process? With Vilgax pulling double duty as both gunman and muscle, we've got our firepower and our heavy hitter covered. And what's more, he has some sense of warrior honor deep down, so we think we could trust him to make good on sharing the spoils of the heist. At least until the heist is over, then all bets are off. Lastly, we have the category for characters who didn't necessarily fit any of the other areas perfectly. It's time for us to pick the wild card. Put simply, the wild card is a character capable of doing just about anything, however outlandish or unexpected. Characters with vast resources, special powers, or even just a ridiculously creative mind are the ideal candidates here. Mojo Jojo might not have made the cut for other roles, but he does have incredibly creative inventions. Despite being outsmarted by kindergartners regularly, Mojo has created devices that defy physics and logic. From weather control to time travel to giant robot suits. He's not the only candidate though. HIM from the Powerpuff Girls is, do I even need to explain it? He's intimidating and charismatic, sure, but he's also magical and demonic. He can warp reality, manipulate minds, create dimensional portals, turn people into objects. You name it, he can probably do it with a snap of his clawed fingers. That said, there will almost certainly be a psychological price to working with him. so it would be wise to think really long and hard about trusting him. Finally, we just have to give Ed one last mention. Despite not being a villain, having someone who operates on absolutely no logic whatsoever would make him a great pick. If it weren't for him being a good guy at heart, I mean, each of these candidates has strengths and weaknesses. But only one of them is a demon who nearly broke the Powerpuff Girls mentally on multiple occasions. Him is our wild card for the day, almost entirely because we want to see what chaos he brings to this already volatile crew. Plus, his reality warping powers could save the entire heist if everything goes wrong, or doom it spectacularly. Either way, it'll be entertaining. And with that, we have our final crew. As our leader, we have Aku, the ancient shape-shifting master of darkness, followed by the gunmen, General Skarr and Vilgax, who also serves as our muscle, Mandark as the safecracker, the delightful children as our hackers, Sedusa as the master of disguise, the Rowdy Rough Boys as our getaway crew, and HIM as the wild card. Now, without further ado, it's heist time, baby. This top security facility is storing some of the world's most valuable artifacts and cutting-edge technology. What's more, the items themselves are worth billions on the black market. For both profit and power, this is a seriously worthwhile heist. Thankfully, Aku's got a plan. And oh, okay then, scratch that. Vilgax just tried to kill Aku to take over leadership. Except Aku's been alive for thousands of years and saw that coming from a mile away. You dare challenge the Master of Darkness? Very well, you may live, for now. But only because I still need your guns. Alrighty, with that established, here's the actual plan. Having got the location and intel they needed, Aku assigns roles. First, they'd need to loosen up security. Vilgax and General Skarr could take out guards from a distance, but there's still the issue of cameras and digital security. The delightful children will need a few seconds to finish disabling the cameras and alarms. Now, the guards are the main concern, but with Sedusa's charm and disguise, she could slowly but surely infiltrate the facility and scope out which areas have the most security, while staying completely unsuspicious, of course. Vilgax and Skarr could quickly take care of perimeter guards. With Skarr's military precision and Vilgax's overwhelming power, the guards would hardly know what hit them. While the team infiltrates, HIM is doing a bit of scheming. See, him noticed something interesting. Vilgax has a massive ego, and it's been hurt by Aku's casual dismissal of his takeover attempt. So him plants a little suggestion in Vilgax's mind, a whisper, a doubt. Why share the profit when you could have it all? Aku won't see betrayal coming twice. But unbeknownst to him, Aku has been playing 4D chess this entire time. He shapeshifted into a guard hours ago and has been watching the entire crew, waiting to see who'd betray first. Meanwhile, Mandark reaches the vault. This is his moment to shine. The safe has 17 different locking mechanisms, biometric scanners, and a self-destruct sequence if tampered with incorrectly. Please, Dexter's lab had better security than this. Within minutes, the vault clicks open. Mandark's ego is satisfied, and he's actually delivered. But just as the crew converges on the vault, things go sideways. Vilgax decides this is his moment. He turns his weapons on Aku, only to find Aku standing directly behind him. Predictable. With Vilgax temporarily dealt with, a 2v2 showdown ensues between those loyal to Aku and those who saw an opportunity for chaos. Skarr, surprisingly, remains loyal. He's military through and through, and he respects the chain of command. Him, on the other hand, decides this is getting boring. The heist is less interesting than watching everyone turn on each other. He starts manipulating minds, turning crew members against each other just for entertainment. Sedusa sees the writing on the wall and tries to grab what she can and run. But the Rowdy Rough Boys, who've been waiting outside this whole time, block her exit. They're bored, they're antsy, and they want their cut. But in the chaos, everyone forgot one crucial thing. The delightful children were the only ones monitoring the larger security network, and they just detected something. Police, military, and worse, actual heroes who happened to be nearby. External forces arriving. Estimated time, 2 minutes. Recommend immediate evacuation. Current status, inadequate. Conclusion, problematic. Aku realizes the heist is compromised, but he's not leaving empty-handed. He shapeshifts into a massive form, grabs the most valuable artifacts, and creates a portal to escape. Skarr, being smart, follows his leader through the portal with his cut secured. The Rowdy Rough Boys grab Sedusa, who's holding several valuable items, and fly away at supersonic speed before anyone can stop them. Mandark tries to gather as much as possible, but his greed slows him down, and he gets caught red-handed by the responding heroes. This is a tremendous misunderstanding. I was actually trying to improve their security systems. Nobody's buying it. Vilgax recovers just in time to be surrounded by military forces with weapons specifically designed for alien threats. He puts up a fight, but even he can't handle an entire battalion prepared specifically for him. The delightful children, meanwhile, calmly pack up their mobile command center. As far as authorities are concerned, they're just 5 weird kids who were in the wrong place at the wrong time. Nobody suspects them of being master hackers. They walk away completely free. And him? He got exactly what he wanted. Entertainment, chaos, watching everyone turn on each other. He never cared about the heist. He just wanted to see what would happen. Delicious. So, let's see the final tally. Aku escaped with the most valuable items and his dignity intact. General Skarr got paid and survived without getting arrested. The Rowdy Rough Boys escaped with loot, but they're fighting with Sedusa over who gets what. The delightful children walked away completely unsuspected and unpunished. HIM got his entertainment and will probably do this again just for fun. Mandark got arrested and is furiously planning his escape and revenge. And Vilgax is in maximum security containment, plotting his eventual escape and revenge against Aku. The facility is in shambles. Several artifacts are missing, and authorities are wondering how this group of villains even found each other. They celebrated with whatever villains celebrate with, probably world domination planning, and a solemn oath to never trust each other again. Which means Aku will definitely assemble another crew in the future. Because why learn from your mistakes when you can just be smarter about exploitation next time? This heist was chaotic, barely successful, and resulted in multiple arrests and betrayals. In other words, exactly what you'd expect from Cartoon Network villains. Let us know in the comments which villain you think played it the smartest, and whether this crew could have actually succeeded if they'd trusted each other even slightly. Remember to hit that notification bell and binge more of our videos. But most importantly, stay wicked.